No, Hillary Clinton, that was not a press conference. After refusing to give an actual press conference for some 276 days, Hillary Clinton's campaign put together a little Q&A session with a gaggle of establishment reporters aboard her new private jet. Of course, it abruptly ended after about 10 minutes when she couldn't stop coughing. So she was asked a few softball questions, which gave her the perfect opportunity, which is what Hillary Clinton loves. She loves to be able to control the Q&A sessions. So they threw some softballs out of which she could throw out these crazy conspiracy theories. Once again, she made the claims that the Russian government is seeking to influence the U.S. election through cyber attacks and hacking. Immediately, she attempted to link Donald Trump to that alleged activity, saying, interesting that this activity happened around the time Trump became the nominee, raises even more serious questions about Trump. She sounds like a conspiracy theorist. Where's your tinfoil hat, Hillary? So then they also kind of went on to say, are you going to close Guantanamo Bay if you get elected? Which that's an absurd question to ask her, considering the scale of scandal that she is mired in, and not to mention that Obama is doing a really good job at clearing the place out of these potential jihadis. They also went on to ask her one question of substance was asked concerning her private email server. One of the reporters asked her about the claims that Hillary had her server wiped with a sophisticated program known as BleachBit, which of course then Clinton responded, I don't know anything about that. She claimed to be completely ignorant of it. That was not something I was aware of. And I think the fact to point out that there was no connection, it wasn't something, as far as I understand, that was related. Oh yeah, having your server wiped with BleachBit, annihilating everything that was on your private server. The issue with that is that this took place 3 weeks after she made that claim to the American people. I've already told them to release my emails. I want America to see what was on my server. Right, and that's why you had one of your aides completely wipe it away with BleachBit. And this is after she's made repeated claims that she turned over all of her work-related emails to the State Department, which we now find out that indeed she did not. There were thousands that she did not turn over. And, you know, they just let that go. She made that response to the question, and they didn't push her further on that. And that's why we have to be able to have these press conferences, actual press conferences, where she can't control the questions that are being lobbied at her, and so she needs to respond and continue to be pressed on this. And then here, excruciating irony, they asked her about the conspiracy theories surrounding her health. She said, I'm not concerned about those conspiracy theories. I pay no attention to them. And that was just minutes before she had to stop the Q&A session because she could not stop coughing, hacking, okay? And just as she did earlier in the day, Millie Weaver got that on Periscope, her for about 4 minutes of like tremendous hacking. So we'll get to that later. But now, in spite of the Labor Day dump, we told you that this is what they do. Whenever there's a big holiday weekend, they put out more of the emails and more things related to Hillary Clinton, because we see this collusion and cover-up from all angles. Well, now the Trump campaign is calling on the FBI to make the additional Clinton email investigation records public. The campaign manager says not only do the FBI interview notes underscore Hillary Clinton's terrible judgment, incompetence, and dishonesty, they raise serious questions about whether emails regarding the terrorist attack in Benghazi were intentionally destroyed while under congressional subpoena. According to the FBI's notes, an intense round of deleting began weeks after lawmakers subpoenaed Clinton's emails following the New York Times report exposing her secret server. So they give you the key dates there. If you scroll down, you can see that on March 2nd of 2015, the New York Times reported on the existence of Clinton's private email system. Immediately following that report, the Benghazi committee subpoenaed emails from Clinton's private server. And then on March 9th, Cheryl Mills sent over this preservation request. But on the 25th, so on the 25th, the company that's handling Clinton's private server, Platte River Networks, holds a conference call with Bill Clinton's staff. And then following that, sometime there, an aide wiped the server clean with BleachBit. That deleted all of her emails. So now, of course, the GOP is pursuing obstruction of justice. They're saying, was there some obstruction of justice there? Of course there was. We're seeing that repeatedly. And now some newly released emails suggest that a top Hillary Clinton aide actually managed the first hearing on the Benghazi terrorist attack. They were feeding specific topics that Clinton wanted to be addressed. They were feeding these specific topics to Democratic Senator Robert Menendez, who was at the time acting chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. The emails say, we wired it that Menendez would provide an opportunity to address two topics we needed to debunk: her actions and whereabouts on 9/11, and these emails from Chris Stevens about moving locations. And right out of the gate, these were the first hearing questions from Menendez that day. They covered both these topics, giving Clinton the opportunity to say where she was and how she handles these things. So even right there, we're seeing some collusion to make, give her the opportunity to clear her name and make this look good, not to actually get to the bottom of things, but to feed her questions so she can give the response, just like with these Q&A sessions. And here also in this FBI emails, we've learned that several of Hillary Clinton's aides told the FBI that they were unaware of the former Secretary of State's private email server. But a Daily Caller review of the public documents revealed that at least two of the aides, Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills, were involved in multiple email exchanges in which Clinton's server was discussed. So there's no way that these top aides there at the State Department had no idea she was using this private server. More collusion. A DOJ official who led the independent Clinton email probe is actually a big-time donor to Obama. So this is someone who's supposed to be thoroughly independent. He's part of the government's investigation into her email practices. But, he's contributing to President Obama's presidential campaign. That is David H. Loffman. So it's just the whole system is rigged. And this is even after President Obama says, rigged? What does that even mean? Who would do that? So back to these Russian conspiracy theories. Now intelligence agencies are accusing Russia of conducting a broad covert operation in the U.S. to sow public distrust in the integrity of upcoming elections, only weeks after the president suggested that the elections would not be rigged. What does that even mean, he said. So these officials are now saying that Russia is going to disrupt the election process directly, and the FBI has alerted state and local officials to be prepared for potential cyber threats. But clearly, it's actually the White House that's pushing these conspiracy theories. The intelligence official says they have no definitive proof of Russia tampering with coming elections. And additionally, the Washington Post refers to the Russian government hack of the DNC, yet in the same sentence notes the hack has not been officially ascribed by the U.S. government to Russia. So they haven't officially blamed it on them, but they're going to go ahead and just put it out there in the public domain that indeed it is Russia and indeed they are trying to sow distrust, when really, truly, it's the White House that is trying to sow distrust because they don't want to get into the contents of these leaks showing that it was actually top-level agents there within the DNC that were rigging the election. That's what we need to be concerned about, but instead they're immediately shifting the blame to this concern of the boogeyman, Russia. And you got to feel sorry for Tim Kaine, who is Hillary Clinton's running mate there for VP. He's getting laughed at already because he is trying to run interference, saying, Hillary Clinton, she talks to the press a lot. She's been very transparent with the press. But obviously he doesn't understand the difference between Hillary's staged events and a real, unscripted, open access press conference where reporters are going to be allowed to ask whatever they want. That's what Hillary is so afraid of. We've already seen the way she responds when questions are lobbed at her. So he also went on to say, she made a mistake by only using one device. She used 13. Her aides tried to destroy these 13 devices with actual hammers. They tried to break these. So then he goes on to say, well, Hillary wants the people to have access to the information. She wants it to be public, despite the whole hammers and deleting the emails thing with BleachBit. And of course, back to the hacking Hillary, the media was caught in a blatant lie trying to say that the pollen count was really high in the area that day. Oh, it's just allergy season. Hillary Clinton joked about being allergic to Donald Trump. And you know, I guess they don't understand that there are websites that actually track the daily allergen level, which confirmed that grass pollen was low, tree pollen was low, ragweed pollen was moderate, allergens were not high. So, of course, it doesn't explain the exact same coughing fit that Hillary Clinton has had on multiple occasions. And as Trump's campaign manager says on Hillary's coughing, she must be allergic to the media. And that's what was getting her off. And now, get this, now that everyone's really digging in with what was actually going on with the pay-to-play there with the Clinton Foundation, Hillary says that it is appropriate that Bill Clinton will cut ties with the foundation if she becomes the president. She's not going to comment just yet on Chelsea's involvement. She says, you know, we'll get there if I'm elected. But, you know, if it was wrong, if it's wrong, if she becomes the president for the Bill Clinton to have such close ties with the foundation, well, what was the deal with being Secretary of State? Why was it okay then?
We are spiraling headlong into what amounts to the final 2 months of the presidential race. But where is Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton?
What difference at this point does it make?
Days ago, Hillary Clinton had not held a press conference in 274 days. That's right. Hillary Clinton had not held a press conference in all of 2016, an election year, until this sham. Hillary, surrounding yourself with what amounts to the press corps over at Teen Beat doesn't amount to a press conference. Why has she been absent? It's obvious that Hillary's frail health can't deal with the monumental deviance that is her growing email scandal. More damning evidence came to light as the architect of the email cover-up, former Clinton Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills, clearly obstructed the FBI's investigation by deleting emails with .com addresses, only saving the emails with .gov or .mil. Eliminating all of Clinton's then Chief of Staff Uma Abedin's, Mills, and other aides' correspondence between Clinton. Judicial Watch President Tom Litton said the FBI saw massive document destruction and clear intent to withhold material evidence. He added, and they just ignored that obstruction and even let her sit in on the interview. Correspondence between Clinton and Abedin, who regularly emailed her boss from Uma at ClintonEmail.com and H. Abedin at HillaryClinton.com, is crucial, Fitton said, because Abedin acted as the go-between on requests for access to Clinton from shady foreign Clinton Foundation donors. He says the mushrooming pay-for-play scandal is the real reason the former Secretary of State set up a private email system in the first place. The whole thing was designed to keep Clinton Foundation emails from investigators, he said. Meanwhile, as Donald Trump becomes increasingly presidential, reaching out to the Mexican people, the flood victims in Louisiana, and the forgotten manufacturing corpse of Detroit, Hillary is elsewhere, preferring to rub elbows with those she is truly comfortable with and serving, the ultra-rich.
Trump wants to cut taxes for the super rich. Well, we're not going there, my friends. I'm telling you right now, we're going to write fairer rules for the middle class, and we are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
Hillary has been jet-setting from one elitist fundraiser after another and is taking pre-written questions from children to the tune of $2,700 apiece.
When you become president, what is your plan to connect mental health problems and guns to make sure that me, my brothers, and my friends are safe from violence at school?
I think we need to pass some laws that I have been advocating for. We need comprehensive background checks. We need to close the gun show loophole, close the online loophole. But the gun lobby lives off of fear and misinformation.
Open Secrets reveals Trump has raised $127.6 million, 2% of that coming from super PACs and 98% from campaign donations, while Hillary has raised $435.3 million, 28% from super PACs and 72% from donations. Hillary is clearly the Wall Street candidate and is propped up by a corporatocracy that has infested our republic. Meanwhile, the dying mainstream media continues to whitewash her poor health, absence from duty, and her own bungling of the issues.
Her popularity ratings are sinking right now, and I'm not sure they're sinking because she's campaigning too little or too ineffectively, or because she's campaigning too much. I sort of suspect the latter, and that she'd do better if she was even quieter than she is now.
And the media continues to fall on its sword, going with the narrative of total propaganda, as was in the case of the Huffington Post article titled "Conspiracy Theorist Alex Jones Boasts About Advising Donald Trump." Editor's note: Donald Trump regularly incites political violence and is a serial liar, rampant xenophobe, racist, misogynist, and birther who has repeatedly pledged to ban all Muslims, 1.6 billion members of an entire religion, from entering the United States. This is what we can expect from a completely propagandized media as it protects the globalist choice and possibly sickest candidate since William Henry Harrison in an attempt to enter the Oval Office. John Bound for Infowars.com.